Hello, hello. Julie Jones here, business coach and sales strategist. And today I want to just kind of riff off a conversation that I was having with a chiropractor yesterday. And this is a conversation that I have not like verbatim, but it's something that I see over and over and over again. And I just want to kind of like talk a little bit about it. So, what I see working with service-based business owners over and over and over again is that they are amazing at what they do, right? They're amazing at the service that they provide. So great at running a business. And I even had an experience recently where I went in to set up a savings account for my sons at my bank. And the banker was like asking me, "What do you do?" I was like, "A business coach for, service-based business owners." And he was like, "Oh, my wife is an esthetician and she, like really is amazing at what she does, not so great at running a business." And I was like, that's literally what I hear over and over again and what I see over and over again. It's like you started your business to do what you do, not because you were like went to business school and love business, right? And so I was on this call with this chiropractor yesterday, and she's been in practice for over 20 years, so like a long time. She hasn't necessarily felt super successful in all of that time, but she's not new to business. And she kind of casually mentioned to me that she had no idea what a sales funnel was. And I don't necessarily teach people this model of sales funnels in my programs and in my coaching. I teach people what I call a sales system. It's a little bit different approach to a sales funnel. But this isn't the first time I've come across this. And it just reminded me that most business owners have like little to no sales training. And so you just get in there and you're just like throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. And sometimes you figure it out, but a lot of the time, um, it's very messy and chaotic because you don't actually understand the mechanics of what like guides somebody to your business, what gets them interested, how they start engaging, how they take action, how you build value, how you make the offer, how you get people to refer people to you. Like, if you don't understand the mechanics behind that, when you're out there trying stuff, it makes it really hard to pinpoint what's working and what's not. So I'm a business coach, yes, but I also am super passionate about educating business owners. Like, this is not only why I focus on the coaching, and yeah, sometimes people just need a little bit of a like, why isn't this working for me? And how do we make this work for me? And like, there's a personalized approach that can be really helpful. And there's the mindset stuff and all that, right? But we also like really thrive with a basic business education. And I'm really passionate about educating my people because um, let's use this example from this person yesterday, actually. Let's say you're going out, you're like, I want to, attract new patients in her business model. She wants to attract new patients. So she's like, I'm going to create a new workshop series. I'm going to go out, I'm going to educate my community about, nervous system health. We're going to attract some new clients. So she goes and she plans her talk, she's promoting it, she's presenting it. And then when she executes it, nobody signs up, right? She had very few people actually come to her workshop. And then of the people who came, nobody actually signed up for an initial evaluation, which is what she was offering. She had crickets, right? And when that experience happened, she felt embarrassed. She kind of panicked. And then she like scrapped the whole idea, saying, I'm not good at workshops and workshops don't work for me. And then it had been like years since she's tried a workshop. One time she had this experience, right? And she wrote off the entire strategy. Now, this is what happens when you don't have the understanding of how the mechanics of the system work. When you don't understand, you make emotional decisions. You use your emotions to guide what you do and what you don't do. And your emotions control the perception or maybe your perception controls the emotions. They work together, right? You have this perception of what happened based on the emotions that you were feeling, and vice versa. The way you perceived it also created a bunch of emotions, right? And it just creates this mess. And for a lot of business owners, it slows their progress down, or it slows their momentum down, because they're just like, this didn't work, I'm not doing anything. But if you understood how a sales system works, if you understood that there are different, basically, checkpoints that your customer goes through that lead them to a yes or a no, you can start to break it down. The first checkpoint was the leads coming in for this, how she was promoting it, what was the messaging, where was the visibility, did she get enough people there to start with, right? When we looked at that, it was like, oh, the messaging wasn't great. She didn't talk about it very much. Like, there were lots of problems in this area. So when we realize, oh, there's lots of problems in this area, or maybe her messaging was attracting the wrong people. It was attracting people who weren't buyers. It was just attracting people who were stuck in their pain cycles of what was going on, and they weren't actually ready to make a buying decision. So if we tweak the messaging and we get her more visible, then the outcome can change, right? Or maybe she's got all that nailed, but when they come and they actually have the experience of being there, she's like, chokes when she makes the pitch, right? Or I see this all the time. People think that they're making a pitch, or they think that they're selling their offer to their audience, but like, actually, they never even make the offer. They're just like, I'd love to work with you and come see me if you want to work together, but they don't actually tell people what that looks like, and people feel very confused and like they don't understand. Um, so when we see, okay, there are these different steps that all have to be figured out in order to get X result, then we can go into each one of those steps and say, was there a problem here? If there was a problem here, let's tweak it. Let's test something different. Let's have a different approach. Let's implement a new strategy. Let's shift the mindset. Whatever it is, we can figure out, go in there, do a little tweak, and then we can retest. And this, over and over and over again, leads to you creating a really well-oiled sales machine. And this is really the essence of what I help people figure out, is first, understanding the sales system, because if you don't, you just end up making emotional decisions, right? And leaving so much up to chance. And you let those emotions slow your progress down, slow your momentum down, versus coming in and just looking at it objectively, looking at the data. And I'm not saying we don't use our intuition and like energetics and all of that. We do that too. But we can just look at what happened, what worked, what didn't work, in what areas were there problems. Let's tweak those, let's fix them, and then let's try again. And when you do that, like I said, over and over again, you end up with a sales system that finally works and figures itself out. Now, this is not an overnight fix, which is why a lot of people don't do this work. However, we can make it really fun and we can make it simple. I am all about simplicity in my business. I run a six-figure business and I work less than 20 hours a week. Right now, I'm working like 10 hours a week because life has been crazy with two little kids. And so, like, things have to be simple. Things have to be simple if we're going to, like, you won't use a system if it's overly complex. That's one of the reasons why most systems fail, because they're too complex. Nobody wants to do that, right? So how can we create a sales system for you that is super simple, that is easy to execute, that also, like, it's not going to happen overnight, that you have some support and some handholding and some just encouragement when you're in that testing phase, when you're trying things and seeing how they work out. And all of this is really why I created Quantum Sales Accelerator, which is my signature coaching program. It's a group coaching environment where I teach you how to build sales systems, and then we walk you through the implementation of them so that you have a space to test things out and see what works. And over the course of working together over a year, you end up, building this sustainable, simple business structure that can really get you to the point where you're growing. And if scaling is your goal, then you're able to build really and build a team and build out more complex systems on top of that. So if that is something that you're interested in doing, just click the link below. You can get more information about Quantum Sales Accelerator. And I just want you to remember that you can run a business that is very simple, that is very profitable without working tons of hours and burning yourself out, but you need to understand the mechanics of the systems to build that so that you're not just like running around trying 8 million different things, burning out in the process and feeling like defeated because these things are not working. So I would love to work with you on that journey and help support you and empower you in succeeding in whatever your craft is.